Ramayana Sumedan tells us, even that which appears impossible. Can the lame climb the steep mountain? Can the dumb begin to speak? It appears to be impossible. But with Bhagwan's blessings, even the impossible becomes possible. Jehi bidhi hoi dharam nirmula, so sab karahi vera pratikula. Jehi jehi de sadhenu dvija pavahi, nagar gav pur aji lajavahi. Ravan, Indrajit, Kumkaran, acting in coordination with each other. Tulsidas tells us, unleashed a reign of terror upon the God-fearing, law-abiding people of this earthly planet. Even as Ravan would discuss what he wanted done, Indrajit, Kumkaran would dispatch the members of their army. And what did they do? They went to the homes during the night time. They would go to the homes of the peaceful people, the devotees of Bhagwan. They would rob and steal and loot the wealth and riches of these people. They would kidnap the family members. They would not even hesitate, my dear friends, to take their lives, to murder those who would stand in their way. Such were the atrocities, my dear friends, that occurred at that time. There's a parallel, there's a comparison that we can draw from what we read in Rama and Katha tonight and what we see taking place all around us. This description that Tulsidas Maharaj gives, that during the night time, Ravan would dispatch Indrajit and Kumkaran and the hosts of other demons and Rakshasas. And they would go from home to home and loot and plunder the wealth and riches and sometimes take the lives of those who would stand in their way. That sounds like a newspaper headline, except we don't use the words Ravan and Kumkaran and Indrajit. But it's the very same actions that we see today, where the homes of peaceful people, law-abiding individuals are being broken into. And on a constant basis, my dear friends, sometimes on a daily basis, you're going to hear so many ugly reports, heinous reports of individuals being beaten, sometimes murdered, and their wealth and riches and other belongings being plundered by the present-day demons and Rakshasas of today's world. As we say, the only difference is we're not going by the name Ravan and Kumkaran and Indrajit, but the very same fate these people suffered many thousands of years ago is the same fate that many of our people are suffering today. What did they do, my dear friends, to change the conditions under which they lived and the terrible fate that they suffered at the hands of these demons? Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra himself described that as the dark days of Kali Yuga would descend upon this earth, this type of behavior and activity would become more and more rampant. He Ramchandra kah gaye siya se, aisa Kali Yuga aayega. हंस चुनेगा दाना दूंगा कौआ मोती खाएगा. Says the kobo, the vulture, would enjoy the gold and the wealth and riches of this time, and the hunts would starve and long for food and sustenance. The Hans is used to illustrate and compare the habits and the lives of the devotees of Bhagwan. And the crow, the vulture, is used to characterize the habits of the demons, the robbers, the thieves, the murderers, the kidnappers. Suno siya Kali Yuga mein kala. Listen, Siti. Shri Ram was describing all of this to Sita Devi. Listen to what is going to happen in Kali Yuga. Mandir suna hoga. The mandir, the places of worship would become empty. But bhari rahengi madhushala. The madhushala is a rum shop where alcohol is sold. This would become very much populated. And sometimes, when we're going back from Ramayana in the night, that will be after, of course, 9:30 in the night. Sometimes the members of myself and the group in the car would observe, and perhaps you would observe as well, that these places of alcohol and ill repute and so on, my dear friends, become very busy in the night time, sometimes in the daytime as well. But the words of Shri Ram, Mandir suna hoga, whilst the mandir may become empty, the madhushala would remain filled. But he goes on to say, Pita ke sang bhari sabha mein nachenge ghare ki bala. Even the parents would molest the children. Do we see this happening today, my dear friends? Well, if you follow the news, regrettably, we see that the words of Bhagavan has come to pass. In many situations, remember, the parent, mother and father, are the protectors of the children. And when he who is supposed to be the protector become the aggressor and the molester, you should know that the dark days of Kali Yuga has already descended upon us, my dear friends. The words of Shri Ram, the prophecy, the prediction of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra, my dear friends, we see unfolding all around us. A society becoming, affected and embroiled in this type of base human behavior. But this deterioration, my dear friends, started many hundreds of years ago. Remember, there is Satyug, Treta, Dwapar and Kali Yuga. We now live in Kali Yuga, the shortest of the 4 yugas. In Satyug, Dharma was supported upon 16 pillars. In Kali Yuga, Dharma is supported among 4 pillars. If you build a house, and you have 16 pillars or 16 posts in that house, and you take away 12, and you leave the house on 4 posts, what do you think is going to happen to the house? It's going to become shaky, and eventually it's going to crumble and fall. That's exactly what has happened to society, my dear friends. The morality and spirituality of humanity from Satyug to Treta to Dwapar and now Kali Yuga. So 12 of the pillars of Sanatana Dharma has disappeared, and 4 is left. And even the 4 that is left, these are under attack as well. Satyam is truth and honesty. Truth is becoming very scarce. Jhoot bolta hai. There's more lies and falsehood being spoken than truth. Saucham is purity. The purity of the mind and the heart more than the external purity. We know this too, my dear friends, is disappearing. Daya is mercy. Compassion for those who are affected, poverty, hunger, illness and disease, and so many other situations plague our people. And dan and charity, this too is being eroded. And so when the 4 remaining pillars are also under attack, my dear friends, then of course that society is going to become weaker and weaker, as we see happening today. And in the words of Shri Ram, my dear friends, that this deterioration begins in the home, where the parents who are, we say, Matri Deva Bhava, Pitri Deva Bhava, mother and father, the first God and the first Guru. And in many homes this still is the situation, where mother and father, conduct their responsibility and conduct their roles and responsibility in the recommended manner. But we also are aware, my dear friends, that in many, many homes this is not so. And sometimes it goes beyond molesting the child to taking the life of the child. This type of decay, societal decay, my dear friends, Bhagavan Shri Ram warns us of this in this age of Kali Yuga. देख तेरे संसार की हालत क्या हो गई भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान. Some people say the world has changed. But the poet in this bhajan says, nahi, it's not the world that has changed. It's the people that has changed. Suraj na badala, chand na badala, na badala de asaman. It's the same sun, the same moon, the same earth. When our forefathers came from India, it was not a different sun that they had. It's the same sun we would see in the morning time. It's the same moon we would see at full moon time. It's the same earth that they walked upon and planted. This is what we still have with us today. But it is us, the inhabitants, the descendants of those great Jahajis that came to this land. It is our attitude and behavior that has changed, that has brought about the drastic change in our society today. My dear friends, this type of immorality and sinfulness and violence goes on for a long time. But someone is looking on, and she has become very concerned and very troubled by what she sees. We shall find out in this show by who is observing what is happening and what she does, my dear friends, to address the situation and bring about a change in the behavior of the people at that time. Someone who's looking on was none other than Dharti Mata, Mother Earth. She declares, the weight of all the mountains and buildings and valleys and homes are not as burdensome to me as the weight of one sinner. And there were many sinners at that time, as there are today. And so she had become very disturbed, my dear friends, by what she saw. So Dharti Mata took the form of Gau Mata. She took the form of a cow. Now, as Hindus, we look upon the cow as a mother. We perform Gaudan ceremony. It is declared in pages of Garud Puran that when the Pret arrives at the crossing of the Vaitarini River, which is just around 6 months after the death of that individual, those who would have performed the Gaudan ceremony are transported safely across the Vaitarini River in specially prepared vessels. And those who have not performed the Gaudan ceremony have to cross that Vaitarini River on their own. Now that doesn't sound so bad, but we need to understand the nature of the Vaitarini. The Vaitarini River is 100 yojanas wide. The yojan is the Hindu measure of distance, and 1 yojan is approximately 8 kilometers. In other words, this is a very wide river. But what makes the crossing especially difficult, between the banks of this very wide and expansive Vaitarini River live snakes and scorpions and crocodiles and so on. Many vicious creatures that pounce upon the travelers and attack them as they are crossing the Vaitarini River. Dharti Mata takes the form of Gau Mata, the form of the cow. So as we say as Hindus, we worship the cow, we do not mistreat the cow, far less eat the flesh of the cow. And of course, when we read this Katha, we must remind ourselves and restate and re-emphasize, my dear friends, the manner in which the cow is revered and honored and worshipped in Hinduism. So Dharti Mata, taking the form of Gau Mata, taking the form of the cow, begins to search for help. As Hindus, we look upon Mother in 5 forms. Our earthly mother, who has given birth to us, obviously. Ved Mata, which is the religious text Just as a mother would teach a child, so too our religious scriptures teach us. Tonight we read Ramayana Katha. Last night we read Shiv Puran Katha. First night we read Bhagavad Puran Katha. All of these Katha, all of these texts, these sacred books and scriptures disseminate the knowledge to us as children, as a mother would teach a child. So the earthly mother, the Ved Mata, the text, Gau Mata, the cow, Dharti Mata, the earth, for all that we eat comes out of the earth, sustains us from the time of our birth to the time of our death. And so we also perform Dharti Mata Pujan. Upon the baby, Dharti Mata Pujan is performed in all puja, recognizing the tremendous impact and importance and benefit of the earth, Dharti Mata, in all of our lives. And of course, Jagat Janani, universal mother, the fifth mother, in the form of Sita Mata, Durga Mata, Lakshmi Mata, Saraswati Mata, Ganga Mata, Gayatri Mata, whichever form we look at. We look upon universal mother also as our mother. So 5 mothers, Panch Matrika, we worship as Hindus. So taking the form of the cow, Dharti Mata goes in search for help. धरती मेरी माता पिता आसमान, धरती मेरी माता पिता आसमान. And this bhajan indeed describes to us, as we're discussing in Katha, that the Mother Earth, sustains us. So we look upon her as Mother. Pita Asman. That the Father of this universe, of course, resides in the heavenly regions. Uche uche parvato ki badale se ho. All the parvat we look upon as a manifestation of Bhagwan. The mountains are sacred to us. Kailash Parvat, Himalayan Parvat, Govardhan Parvat. Nadiya Bahare Sare Bandhano ki turi. Even the rivers are sacred to us. Ganga Mata, Gomati, Saraswati, all of these are sacred rivers in India that we perform worship to. And when you actually journey, my dear friends, to India and you stand upon the banks of Ganga and perform puja there, that is an entirely, last year, I mentioned last night that myself and my Dolahin had a good fortune of spending 3 weeks in India. One of the things that we did is going to Rishikesh and Haridwar, the sacred cities upon the banks of the Ganga River, and performing Ganga Mata Pujan and taking a dip in the waters of the Ganga, icy cold waters of Ganga. And of course, the source of the Ganga is way up in the Himalayan mountain, flowing out of the glaciers, and so even though it flows down into the lower regions, it's still very cold. So the rivers as well are very sacred to us, and we worship and pay reverence to the rivers as a source of blessing. And of course, we look upon Ganga Mata as a mother as well. And so, she goes to the Sant and the Sadhus first. Of course, we look upon the Sant and the Sadhus as being a source of knowledge. She relates her concerns to the Sant and the Sadhus. Look at what is happening around us, she says to them, Sadhu Log, are you not concerned about the behavior, the sinfulness of the people of today's world? And they say to her, oh mother, we ourselves are concerned, but we do not have the solution. What should we do? And they said, perhaps we should go to the Rishis and the Munis. Today, Sadhu, they are not very knowledgeable, but the Rishis and Munis are even more knowledgeable. So, the Sadhu says, oh mother, we would accompany you, for we share your concern. So all the Sadhus, together with Dharti Mata, still in the form of the cow, they now go to the Rishis and Munis, the board of the Rishis and Munis. After paying their respects to the Rishis and Munis, again, Dharti Mata relates her concern to the Rishis and Munis. And they too share the concerns of Dharti Mata. Yes, we too feel very disturbed by what we see happening today. But we too, O Mother, we do not know what solution, what should we do to avert this course of action. And so, the suggestion is made, let us go to Lord Brahma. Perhaps Lord Brahma would be able to give us the answer. In this Doha, we shall find out what Lord Brahma, what response Lord Brahma gives to Dharti Mata, the Sant and the Sadhus, and the Rishis and Munis. They all arrive in Brahmalok. Once again, Dharti Mata relates to Lord Brahma her concerns. Lord Brahma was very happy. I too have been witnessing, and perhaps, my dear friends, this is also what is happening. All of us are witnessing. All of us are aware, what is taking place amongst the youths of today, and the fact that many of them have become very lawless in various stratas of society and bringing, untold hardship and difficulty and so on to so many people. So many households are being attacked and so on. The concerns that she had were shared by the Sant and the Sadhus, the Rishis and Munis, and our Lord Brahma says as well, I too have been observing, and I have become very concerned about what is happening. And so he says, it is only Lord Vishnu who can transform what is happening. In Hinduism, Lord Brahma is the creator, Lord Vishnu is the force of sustenance, and Lord Shiva is the source of destruction and reabsorption. And this is why Lord Brahma is saying to them, it is Lord Vishnu who sustains. We believe the three are one and the same, but they function in three different capacities, and so they are looked upon as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And this is a source of confusion sometimes in Hinduism, where people say as Hindus, we have many gods and we worship many gods. In the pages of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna clearly explains, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhadata abhyautanam dharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyaham paritranam sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma sansthapanarthayam Shambhavani yuge yuge. What he says in the pages of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, whenever dharma is in decline and adharma, unrighteousness or sinfulness, is ascendant, I would manifest from yug to yug for the sake of the preservation and protection of dharma and those who cherish dharmic values and virtues, and for the destruction of adharma, of unrighteousness and sinfulness. He goes on to say, I am Ram, I am Shiva, I am Hanuman, I am Durga, I am Lakshmi, I am Saraswati. All have come from me. I am the sun, I am the moon. They are all one and the same as me, known by different names. But I am seen in all of creation. All of these manifestations have come from me, and they are one and the same. Again, we go back to the misleading belief and statement sometimes that people make, that as Hindus, we pray to many gods. We have one government. We don't have many governments. But if you want to fix the road, you don't go to the Ministry of Health, you go to the Ministry of Works. If you feel sick, you wouldn't go to the Ministry of Works, you will go to the Ministry of Health. And if you need education, You wouldn't go to the people who fix the road, you go to the Ministry of Education. It is not that we have several governments, we have several arms of one government that function in different capacities. Similarly, there's one God. It's not that we have many gods. And of course, when you need that your home and your business and so on would be wealthy and prosperous, you do Lakshmi Mata Puja. And when you desire, that your home would be filled with happiness and togetherness, you worship Durga Mata and so on. Shiv Shankar Bhagavan for the fulfillment of all goals and desires. Hanumanji for the protection of the home and the family. And so this is why as Hindus, when we perform pujas, sometimes 5 pujas, 7 pujas, 9 pujas, depending on the desire of that individual. Worshipping that one Lord, my dear friends, in his multifaceted functions, so many aspects he functions. Imagine as humans, we have one government that functions in so many facets, that there are dozens of ministries. Bhagavan presides over the entire creation, the entire universe. And so, my dear friends, similarly, there are so many forms that depict the various functions and responsibilities that he conducts on our behalf. The question arises still, so then why then in other religions there are not so many forms of God, and only in Hinduism so many dozens of forms of God are depicted? And these are questions that are very relevant. And of course we must address these questions because our young Hindus, they have very inquisitive minds, and when they go to school they meet children of different religious backgrounds and so on, and they should be in a position to address the differences, my dear friends, that they see amongst the 3 major religions in our country. So why are there so many forms of God in Hinduism, and in other religions there are just one? Perhaps the answer can be found in tracing back the ages of the different religions. One particular religion just goes back about 2,000 years. One go back about 2,800 years. One go back to about 3,500 years. That's a long time, isn't it? But how long or how old is this universe? How old is this world? Is it just 2,000 or 3,000 years old? Today, modern day researchers, what you call the archaeologists, they dig up fossils. That is the remnants of animals, prehistoric animals. And by scientific methods, they tell you this world could be as much as 60 million years old. Not 2,000 years and 3,000. So what happened before? Was there no religion? And this is where we must put this discussion into context, my dear friends. This world is not just 2,000 or 3,000 years old. This world is millions of years old. Listen to the Hindu concept of time. Satyug is about 16 million years old. The duration of Satyug is about 16 million. Dwapar is about 12 million. Do the maths, We're coming close to the 60 million. The scientific age of the world and the Hindu concept of time matches up very closely. And it's in excess, I am rounding off. It's more than 16 million. Satyug is in excess of 16 million. Dwapar is in excess of 12 million. Treta Yuga is in excess of 8 million. And Kali Yuga, the age in which we now live, is in excess of 4 million years old. This is the Hindu concept of time. 4 yugas, and the duration of each yuga is given. Compare that, my dear friends, to, we like to go by science these days. What the scientist tells us is the age of this universe. And when we ask the question, why in other religions you only have one form of God, and in Hinduism you have so many, it's because we have not just been here for 2,000 years or 3,000 years. As long as this world has been in existence, so long has Hinduism been here. And over the thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, that one God has manifested and taken all of these various forms that we worship as Hindus. So when Lord Brahma is speaking, he's speaking in the capacity as creator. He says, I know who can help us. It is Lord Vishnu. So someone asked, where can we go and find Lord Vishnu? Lord Shiva was also there. And Lord Shiva says, first tell me where Lord Vishnu is not. Ishvara Sarva Bhutana. That Lord pervades every strata of this creation. Tell me where he is not, and then I will tell you where to go and look for him. We do not need to go searching for God, my dear friends. God has never been lost and will never be lost. It is us who become lost sometimes. God, first and foremost, is within us. Mana mandirami. He's not very far. He's very close to us. Sometimes we become distant from him. So the words of Lord Shiva is very important. Tell me, first, where Bhagwan is not, and then I will tell you where you shall search for him. And so what he declares, Bhagwan is here with us, here and now, even as we speak. And the words of Lord Shiva, my dear friends, is very applicable to us here as well tonight. Even as we sit here, Bhagwan is also present. When Panditji performs puja, he performs Avahan. He recites Avahan mantra, invocation mantras. Those invocation mantras invoke the blessings and the presence of Bhagwan upon the deity, for us to perform worship unto him. So what do we do to find him? Lord Brahma says right here, we'll call upon that divine Lord Vishnu Bhagwan for his assistance and his intervention. And so in this chant, he glorifies Lord Vishnu. The Akashvani was heard, which is the heavenly voice, the ambrosial voice of Lord Vishnu. Fear not, O Dharti Mata, fear not, Devta Log, Sadhu Log, Rishi Log. Very soon the time is coming that I myself will manifest in Ayodhya as the son of Dashrath and Kaushilya. They are with me in my heavenly abode now. Dashrath and Kaushilya in the Purva Janam was none other than Raja, Manu and Satrupa. And they had given up their kingdom in the hands of their children, and they had spent several years in the forest performing tapasya to Lord Vishnu. And when he says to them, tell me what it is you desire, they had said to him, Prabhu, we desire to have a son like you, who would possess all your attributes and all your characteristics. And he said to them, since there is only one like me, I myself would come into your home. So you'll be reborn, he's saying to Raja, Manu and Satrupa, you'll be reborn as Dashrath and Kaushilya in Ayodhya. And then, to fulfill this vardhan that you've asked for, I will manifest into your home as your son. And this is what he's saying to them. Fear not, the time is coming shortly when I will descend upon this earth to destroy the wickedness of the Rakshasas and demons, and to restore Dharma and destroy Adharma. And the question may arise, is Bhagwan promising us that he will come in our time as well? My dear friends, the next avatar is Kalki avatar, which is not due for some time as yet. Coming to the end of Kali Yuga, Kalki avatar is Bhagwan Vishnu is supposed to take that avatar, that manifestation as Kalki Bhagwan. And if our time concept of Kali Yuga is correct, my dear friends, we're just about halfway through Kali Yuga. And so we're told that what we see here may become worse before it becomes better. Because sometimes the army is posted, the police is posted, there are more guns, there are more cars, but still the bandits seem to have the upper hand. So our solution, my dear friends, our personal solution, of course, is to protect our homes and our families. And of course, as Dharti Mata says, those who are the devotees of Bhagwan, of course, would enjoy that protection from Bhagwan himself. Prem se bole Sitapati Ramchandra ki jai.